Harumph.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sanghee, and today I'm gonna be talking about one of the biggest sporting events that happens in the world. It's gonna be a World Cup 2010 South Africa, and my major claim is that Spain is going to win the World Cup 2010 South Africa. And my three supporting claims are: 1. Spain is currently on a winning streak. 2. Spain, compared to the other team, has much greater experience and much greater statistics as a players. 3. Climates and geography of the South Africa is advantageous compared to any other teams in the nation. So for my first claim, for my first supporting claim, Spain is currently on a winning streak. Spain was champion for the EuroLeague 2008, which composed of many of the strong nations, which is France, England, and Greece, and many other teams. Also, for the World Cup qualifiers, there is 10 games, and Spain have won 10 out of all 10 games. And Spain, from the recent games, have won France in March 2-0 and defeated Argentina 2-1. So by looking at all these statistics and their past games, you could predict that Spain is going to do fairly well on this upcoming World Cup 2010. Now, for my second supporting claim, Spain, compared to the other team, has greater experience and greater player statistics compared to the other team. Major supporting member of the team have already played the opponent players in the league of EuroLeague. Main defender of the team, Puyol, Piave, Xavi, have played in FC Barcelona for this season. And FC Barcelona is one of the major competitive team in the European League game in the soccer. And through that continuous experience, they would know how to correspond to different offense of different players and different tactics that other teams' coach is going to come up with. For offense, compared to the other participating teams, they have much greater statistics. Daniel Villa, who is one of the best offensive players in Spain, averages about one goal per game. In low-score games such as soccer, one score can affect greatly. So thus, having Daniel Villa in the team would have very adverse effect on the Spain team. Also, Daniel Guida, another top player of the Spain game, was the top scorer of the Real Mallorca for 2007 and 2008 seasons. By looking at the statistics, that both offensive players and defensive players are excel very much compared to the other nations. And also, not only the players, coach has greater experience compared to the other team also. Coach was played as a member of Spanish national team in 1980 and have greater experience in that international games. Thus, he could help support the other players and get them feel free of this anxiousness and nausea. And also, the coach of the Spain national team have coached Real Madrid, the Spanish club team, for 4 years, and he had been coaching for over 20 years of his life, and spent almost every single moment of his life playing soccer and coaching soccer. Thus, by looking at it, both players and coach of the team, one could tell that Spain is going to do fairly well in the next 2010 World Cup. Now, for my final supporting claim, climate and geography of the South Africa plays a fairly advantage to Spain team. Similar climate compared to the South Africa have similar climate compared to the Spain. Both nations have diverse climate according to the region due to their mountains and oceans surrounding them. And they both, South Africa and Spain, have extremely cold winter and extremely hot summer. Temperatures in South Africa in summer averages about 28 degrees in Celsius, and Spain too has summer averages about 26 degrees in Celsius. And for Similarity in geography. Spain and South Africa have both very high altitude compared to the other nations. Other nations such as Brazil or Argentina have about 300 meters altitude, and Spain averages about 670 meters in altitude. South Africa, which averages about 1,200 meters in altitude. The higher the altitude goes, the less oxygen the player is gonna get. Thus, as the altitude gets higher, players are gonna have much harder time playing. Thus, Spain, compared to the other team, which have much higher average altitude to other nations, is going to play much better in high altitude areas such as South Africa. In conclusion, my main claim, Spain is going to win the World Cup 2010 South Africa is supported by 1. Spain is currently on a winning streak. 2. Spain, compared to the other team, has much greater experience and much greater statistics. And 3rd, climate and geography of the Africa plays favorable action toward the Spain team. Thank you.
All right, the structural stuff is pretty good. You've got a clear statement of what your claim is. It is a claim of fact. You tell us what it is. It's a prediction, so that's fine. The layout of the secondary points was also pretty clear. You signposted those points as you got to it. Sometimes the transitions were a little bit herky-jerky as you went through the body of the speech. On the first point, it seemed a little thin. You had some data about the number of games that they'd won recently, but there's not really any explanation about why those games are any more significant than other teams, and we didn't get the comparative data about how other teams who are going to be competing with Spain either in their section or division or grouping, I forget what they call it, group I guess, how they're doing, or for instance how successful or what lack of success there was in the other groups, and I think that the comparison then on the first point is not as strong. You've got some okay data on the second point, but we're back to the same issue. I think you need a little bit more comparison. The fact that the coach has had 20 years of coaching and has done all that, well, how about the coaches for the other teams? Haven't they got experience? And haven't some of those coaches actually have experience winning the World Cup, whereas the coach for Spain, I don't know if they have any of that particular experience. So again, I think you've got some okay data, but the inferences that you're drawing from it are a little bit broad. There's a big presupposition in the third point that the altitude is going to be a substantial factor. I could imagine that's true if the altitude was substantially higher, but the difference between 300 feet and 600 feet or 700 feet or even 1,000 feet, I don't know how significant a difference that was. They're playing at Mile High Stadium in Denver where the altitude is 5,000 feet. I could see why there might be an issue that's going on there. But at 1,000 feet, you're going to have to show me examples or some authority that suggests that altitude difference is really going to matter. I still don't know how the climate issue affects the play in the game. There needs to be a lot more explanation on that. You want to get the pen out of your hand while you're speaking. You never seem to be getting into a smooth flow of the presentation, and you want to cite sources a little bit more consistently. All right, thank you.